morning. Welcome to Books at the Bottom of the Stairs. My name's Lorene. Today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Jane Austen-esque books. This is the month, July, that is the Jane Austen month. There are a lot of people out there on BookTube who are doing readings connected to Jane Austen in some fashion. And there is sort of a Jane Austen challenge going out there. It's being sponsored by 2 or 3 different booktubers. I'll link the 2 that I know of down below. The Spinster's Library is one of them, and the other one's not coming to my head, but anyhow, it'll be down below in the doobly-doo. So what the suggestion is that you read one of Jane Austen's books and a book that is inspired by Jane Austen, maybe watch a movie, maybe do a nonfiction about the Regency era. So they've got all kinds of different prompts. And I'm going to link a video that I watched just yesterday from the Spinster's Library, and it was the Jane Austen Taskmaster, and it was quite cute. They had 4 volunteer people great. It's a good thing that volunteers are people, right? I mean, what would you do with a volunteer giraffe? That wouldn't go very well. So anyhow, these 4 people have volunteered to do 6 different tasks in a limited amount of time. Each task has 1 or 2 minutes or 10 minutes. And they're supposed to videotape themselves while they're matching the task. And it's pretty comical. I really enjoyed it. So they're given things like dress up like an Austen character, or they're given a set of questions that they need to answer that's like trivia type answers. And yeah, so anyways, I'll link it. It was good fun. It was, and also I should mention that it is a fundraiser, and all of the funds that if you watch through the whole video, there are about 3 moments of advertisements. So if you watch through the advertisements, you don't actually have to watch, but just don't click skip ad, then the revenues from those ads will go to the charity of whoever wins the task challenge. So I thought that was kind of clever, because you're going to get the ads anyways. Why not just make use of them? So anyways, that's one thing that happened with the Jane Austen month. Well, the other thing that, because I knew it was Jane Austen, I picked up this book, The Austen Escape, and thinking, well, I'll just, I'm not going to really go into a deep dive on this, but I'll just do this for a little bit of fun on the side. And this is by Katherine Reay. And Katherine Reay, it's R-E-A-Y, maybe it's Reay. Anyways, she has a number of books that she has written. Oh, there was a visual in here. She's written 4 others that are from the Regency period. But what's happening here in this book is that it's modern contemporary times, and there are 2 girls, women now, who used to be really best buds back when they were little, and then through the teenage years. And as the time went by, the one girl's family is really, it's just a very unkind, unhealthy kind of environment to grow up in. And the other girl her mom has been dying of multiple sclerosis over time. So it's a good family, but there's death involved. So they both have got different kinds of traumas. Okay, so did I like this book? I'm going to say no. First off the bat is we've got 2 characters, Isabel and Mary. And Isabel and Mary are names that are used through Jane Austen's writings. So when these characters, Isabel and Mary, are going to do what I'll eventually tell you about, they are confronted with names from Jane Austen's characters. Why is that a problem? Well, because what they're going to do is go for 2 weeks to a manor house in England, and they're going to do 2 weeks of Regency Jane Austen-esque things. They're going to do dinner parties and dances and riding and archery and, just everything that the characters in Jane Austen novels did. And there's people from all over the world that attend these kinds of 2-week long sessions. So you have to pick a character. Well, everybody, just like everybody has been reincarnated by Cleopatra or some kind of princess, everybody wants to be Emma. So that's not going to work. What are you going to do? Well, there are secondary characters, but that means the people who are more not quite the squeaky wheels, they're going to get the secondary characters, and those who've got the stronger personalities are going to be the Emmas and the Janes and what have you. So there's Isabel from one book and Mary from another book, and I thought, no, I hate that. There's so many names in the world. Why don't the main characters have a name? Like, oh my God, you could even have gone with Susan and Nancy. Clearly not Jane Austen names. Anyhow, that was my first quibble. My second quibble was, these two girls go off. Why am I calling them girls? There's nothing girlish about them. They go off to this amazing resort where there's all this money being spent to give this Regency experience. It's like down to the incredible clothing and beautiful horses and lovely food. And the dilemma, the actual plot line, of which there is one, just kind of, I don't even know how to express it. They're there, they're having this possibly great time, and everybody panics and says, oh, we have to go. We have to go. All right, so what's the plot that's making... Those are the two things that drove me crazy through the whole book. Two girls, they've gone to this Regency thing, and Isabel is having a sort of a mental breakdown along the way. She's really not coping well with life. There's been a lot of trauma in her life, and so this is an escape opportunity for her. Her thesis is in Jane Austen's something or else. She's doing a PhD, and never quite clear about what her PhD is about, but somehow this sojourn is going to solve it all. She knows deep in her heart that she's totally in crisis. So she asks her old best friend, Mary, to tag along. And Mary's reluctant because they've had rubbing up against each other in the last 5-10 years. So she's thinking maybe it's time to let Isabel go. Like maybe it's time for me to just move on from this friendship. But because they've been together for so long and she knows what Isabel's background is like and she recognizes something's off, she decides to tag along. She's leaving a job behind that she feels she's going to be fired from. Of course, there's a potential love interest there. There's conflict at the job, conflict with the love interest. Isabel doesn't really have a love interest, particularly in the beginning. And so Mary tags along, but can't leave the job behind, is continually consumed by modern day, whereas Isabel completely falls into the Regency period and cannot cope with any intrusion of modern day in that. Like those sorts of things are triggers. So she's having these kind of mini meltdowns and lashing out at people, and she's convinced she's Emma. Well, Emma's not the nicest of the group as far as Jane Austen's characters go. She can be a bit of a bitch, but you know, her heart's in the right place. So we can say that about Isabel. Her heart's in the right place. All of a sudden, you know, as the tension's building and they're not really resolving things, there's a doctor in the background who's suggesting, just let her rest, don't confront her with things, just let her, you know, she'll come back to reality when she's ready. So, you know, everybody feels it's their duty to help Isabel confront reality instead of just giving her the time that she needs. And Mary just can't let go of the job. And so within 4 days, she's decided that, in fact, she's going to go back to wherever in the USA and reclaim her position in the job, or quit, or get fired, or whatever. But she's ready to move on. And there's this love interest thing that's kind of willy-nilly. And I was so pissed off. Just sit there for 2 fucking weeks and have fun and do what you need to do for Isabel. Leave the job behind. And this has happened in a number of books where this setting is created, which is positively perfect for people to enjoy a Regency experience, and they all resist it. I mean, it's happened in other books and other movies, and I just think, what is your problem? Just put your feet up and drink that cordial. Okay, so I didn't like the characters. I thought that they were just completely one-trick ponies. Isabel's got the mental thing, and Mary's got the job thing. The love interest, he's just kind of conveniently planted where he needs to be. The whole Regency setting could be Disneyland. We could be in a fun house. It makes no difference. Isabel could be disassociating anywhere. And yeah, I read the book. It kind of annoyed me enough that I thought, I wonder whether she does this in other books. I'm going to go get those other books and be annoyed. Okay, wait a minute. I've got a really good pile of books here. Let it go. So I'm going to give this one a 0 out of 5. And sorry about that, Jane Austen, but that was the other thing, is that it's just, Jane Austen is writing deep, thoughtful books, and this one is shallow and performative and just a bunch of grocery list checks as far as I could tell. Yeah, got an Austen reference, got an Austen dress, got an Austen drink. Yeah, we're good. No, 0 out of 5. All right, the other book I'm really looking forward, been looking forward to this one for quite some time. It's Aeysha at Last by Uzma Jalaluddin. And here's a trick. If you can't get something from the library because everybody wants it, put yourself in lineup for the large print. It comes quicker. And it feels like I don't know, it just feels faster. It's exactly the same. Anyhow, this is a contemporary retelling of one of the Austen novels. I'm not sure which one. There's a main character, and she is a poet, but she has to pay the debt to her uncle for her education. And in so doing, she's, excuse me, she's with her flighty younger cousin, Hafsa. And Hafsa is eventually engaged to Khalid. Yes, Khalid. And Aeysha, I think, is starting to have feelings for Khalid. So it's going to be one of those kind of dilemmas. And I've heard good about this. I haven't even started it, but I'm looking forward to it in the sense that there have been a lot of good reviews on BookTube about it. And that's going to be my second, and that's it as far as Jane Austen goes, just joining in the gang. So that's my Jane Austen wrap up, and well, I'll be back to tell you how I felt about this book, because yeah, I'm hoping for a 4 out of 5. That'll be fun. So that's it for me today. I hope all your reading dreams and adventures continue to come true. Bye-bye.